This is totally different.
Yeah, this is just for the fire.
Well, else for sheriff department.
Yeah.
Well,
Same tower.
It worked, but Verizon, I'm like Verizon.
Yeah, I don't know about substation.
Who we waiting on?
Brian, you want to add on, go ahead and start.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start.
All right, this time I'd like to call this meeting back to order. We'll move down to number 5 on new business. Discussion regarding camera and sound upgrades for the commission boardroom.
Mr. Kaufman, I don't have anything to do with this one, sir.
Go on to the number 6.
And I tell them we'll skip down to number 7 for this.
Okay.
That'll work.
Truck for Ms. Barfield.
Alright, if you guys remember during the, like I said, during the budget hearings, we had told, property appraiser that we would work on trying to get her a truck. I put in front of you, and I'm sorry it wasn't in your packets, but I just got it in front of, and if anybody needs a copy in the public, there's a couple down here. 2 quotes. These are under the Florida Sheriff's Association contract. One of them is from Coggins, the other is from Duval Ford. The one from Coggins with an overall price is $24,595, and the one from Duval Ford was $24,619. And then, so I would recommend going with the one from Coggins, obviously it's a little cheaper. And then also I have the quote for the lease from Coggins. And, they have a 3, 4, or 5 years, all the same interest rate. We can afford any one of those 3. I mean, I would probably recommend going with the 3-year and just doing 3 annual payments of $8,968.90. If you guys approve, then it'll come back and you would have to approve the lease, is that correct?
Yeah,
They would approve this and then we enter the lease, they had to approve the agreement.
I think you're gonna have to approve the concept and get the documents, you have to approve the lease. Now, also, as part of that, you're gonna have to approve an amendment to the property appraisal.
Right.
Because that would run, it would.
Pass through.
But actually, now wait a minute, is the vehicle will be actually done by property appraisal, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would be.
Okay, so I think really what we're doing is we're approving an amendment
To her budget for that
for that amount of money, and then
$8,960.
she's gonna sign
Correct.
the lease agreement. So, yeah, I don't think we have
That's
to
the way I
bring it back.
understood it. That's the way I understood it.
Yeah, so we wouldn't have to bring it back.
But it would be allowing us to do a budget amendment for $8,968.90 in this fiscal year. For her, and next year we can just include
And
it.
knowing that you're gonna have to pay that amount of money in the next
Is
year.
this additional coming out?
That's where it's gonna come from. That's what we told you during the budget hearing. that we would do.
Now, is this going at the end of 3 years, the truck belonging to
To
her?
her, yes, it will be.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
And have a motion and a second to approve this with, Coggin Ford.
Well, it's approving a budget amendment request for $8,968.90.
Property
To the property appraisal. Okay.
And I would put in the minutes so she can enter into that lease agreement,
Right.
because that needs to be plain, because next year and the year after, you're gonna have to approve that same amount of money.
Okay, have a motion and a second, any further discussion? All in favor, let it know by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Debate number 5, discussion regarding camera and sound upgrades for the county commission boardroom. Sharon, do you have anything on that?
Just, y'all had asked for some quotes from our current provider who does our IT, and those quotes are included in the packet. The first one is for the camcorder, the microphones for it, and the tripod system. The second one is for a new ceiling mount speaker, new microphones and bases for each of you, and then a rack mount audio recorder. And then the labor for all of that to be installed. So with everything, hardware and services, everything comes out to $7,050.50. Or you can do some of it versus all of it. And then, after those quotes from Inspired, there's an email from Nathan Thornton, who does the county's website. And he estimated his cost to be $400 to set up a BOCC and YouTube channel. And this would be to put the meetings on YouTube, and we could link it into the website. And that would be his cost for doing that.
And by linking it to our website, does that create some type of archive?
Well, we just link the YouTube channel. You know, people could go to the website and click that link and it would take them to the YouTube channel. But, I mean, the meetings, the videos would stay on that YouTube site.
But to get to your point, Commissioner, yes, it would have to be archived. But, and I'm not sure just keeping it on YouTube is considered archived. I think we'd have to have another storage medium that would be reported to.
For public records laws, these things have to be archived.
Right.
But wouldn't, with the current equipment that Inspired has, wouldn't they be able to archive? Wouldn't Craig be able to archive that?
Mr. Chair, I think,
Can I make one comment, please? And Brian, you may remember, we contracted with Archive Social last year for like Facebook postings and so forth, which probably we're limited to the amount of different networks that we could do, but that might be another option that they offer as well through Archive Social, is to back up your website. And, all in the same package. I think the board is part of this Archive Social, the sheriff's office, all the elected offices. Billy's on it, the clerk, excuse me, is on it. And as far as like Facebook postings and things of that to be archived for public records requests, and we may can add that website as well.
personally, I think this is something that, just like we've talked about with our fire services, and as we progress and we come in line with what a lot of other communities and boards are doing, and I think we need to make this available. And, of course, funding, it's a lot cheaper than what we've been told in the past.
Absolutely, way cheaper.
And I think part of our discussions before, with Billy during our budget process, that we would be able to do this. So, I'm all for it, and I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion saying that's to go with the Inspired.
Yes, on the quotes they submitted, and as far as the setting up the,
YouTube, is that, your motion is gonna include the other memo on the $2,000?
from Nathan Thornton.
Yeah.
And I think we're still gonna need to get, with that, we work with y'all, do what we need to do as far as archiving and keeping, those records. We're still gonna do that, regardless of what we do.
Mr. Chair, I got a question
Okay.
for the council. Is there a law that says we have to or have not record our meetings?
The only thing you're required to do under the Sunshine Law, you are required to keep minutes of meetings, which are the minutes that you all approve. You're not required to audio record, you're not required to video record. However, it is, most county commissions now are at least audio recording, if not video recording their meetings. But no, as far as a legal requirement, you're not required to, legally required to do that.
And can these recordings be used against us in legal?
Anything.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't think it's a stupid question.
Well, all due respect, even our minutes of our meetings are all.
I realize the minutes,
And I think to your point though, when you know you're on videotape and all of that, you probably do wanna watch stray comments and those types of things, because there are certainly, at least I know I have been involved in where things that everybody knows is a joke around this table, you put it on videotape, now it doesn't seem like a joke. Those kinds of things. And so that's why you do wanna watch yourself maybe a little bit better when you're on video.
if you don't know, it doesn't hurt to ask.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, let it known by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, moving to number 6, communications tower out there. Fire board meeting, fire board voted and asked me to bring that to the board. We noticed, some problems with communications with the fire radios and everything. And they've had the radios checked in the last year, and it seems like it's sporadic and seems to be getting worse in some areas.
Mr. Chair, if I could add to that, when the night of the storm, I was at the firehouse, and that's one of the things that volunteers were telling me. Communications in the northwest part of the county is terrible.
Well, they've been bad there for a real long while, but now Cherry Lake's experienced problems, and so is Lee experienced problems. And myself, I monitored during the storm, and I could tell a difference.
Right, Mr. Chair, when this is brought to my attention, and I discussed it with Coordinator Brian, our current vendor is, of course, Motorola. Andy Walker is our contact representative for this part. Andy hasn't been made aware of any of these issues. Certainly so, there does need to be preventive maintenance. There's a ton of radios in the volunteer fire department, who knows how old they are.
They were all just recently checked.
Well, I don't know who checked them, but it wasn't Motorola, the vendor that actually does them. It might have been a private vendor, but that, what you get into when
First
you.
Communications.
No, I'm just going off of what Andy said, that, you know, as far as doing your annual PM, we do an annual PM with the sheriff's office, we have to, because a lot, you know, your PL tones may drift off a little bit of a point of a frequency or so forth that will interfere your reception or your transmission. Hey, it's the fire department, it's the county's tower. I just strongly encourage, I met with Brian, I think he's in accordance with it, that you do a process of elimination before you automatically say, I want somebody to climb the tower.
Yeah.
Because that tower climb is not cheap. We end up doing it 2 or 3 times a year just because of a bulb that blows out. But I would just strongly encourage, we have special interest in it, because, you know, anytime that you've got more than one vendor involved in anything, if something goes wrong, it becomes a finger pointing contest. And so I'm kind of protective of the special interest that we have, being the hub of all public safety communications, as to, you know, who's going to be responsible and going along with our current vendors who support us with the products that we have. But that was some of the discussions that I had with Brian. That would be my recommendation. And maybe follow up and make sure that there has been a preventive maintenance performed on each radio, not just your portable, but your mobiles as well. Before I mean, because our radio system is very complicated, as you all know. And it could be, it may not be the tower, our main tower there at the high school. It could be the receiver at the DOT tower. So there's a lot of different processes of elimination that should be made before, you know, you just decide we're gonna climb the tower. And I would just encourage that.
Do we have more than one vendor? We just have one, right?
Well, now, there's a lot of equipment on y'all's tower out there at the county that is in our budget. I mean, because, you know, you got different frequencies. I mean, the road department's on it. They have, I think they're with Harris. Who are y'all with, Lonnie?
I'd have to check if I'm
Yeah,
not
I
sure.
mean, so that's what you have to be careful. It's like inside the comm center, we have Motorola, we have 911, we have USA. And anytime one thing goes wrong, if they're all not a part of it, it becomes a finger pointing contest. And so I have to involve them all.
All y'all's communications is digital now, right?
No, sir.
Mostly use analog.
No, sir. We're still, we are digital capable, all right, but we're not digital. That's a very significant cost, and we haven't found a budget year that we can do that.
Well, yeah, how many towers do we have?
We have 3.
Highway patrol station?
No. We have the county owns a tower.
This is the one at the high school.
This is the one at the high school that y'all own.
Okay, tell me where the 3 are located.
All right, you got one on 53 South, all right, that we lease. That lease is $1,000 a month.
53
The
South.
Pinnacle Towers.
Okay.
And then you have another one that's down off of 150, yeah. It's another name. We call it 150, but it's Overstreet, isn't it? Overstreet, yeah, down by the fire towers. So there's 3 see, because we work off of repeater systems.
Is that radio communications and mobile data, those repeater systems?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay.
Right. So that's our special interest in it versus nothing against ham operators or anything of that sort, but I think that the people that we're gonna hold accountable for it, that we're responsible, that we're contracted with,
Well, that's what they asked, if you can get somebody to check out that equipment.
Well, yeah, that should be, you know, Motorola's part of that contract.
Yeah, so get the touch base with them, get them to come and look at it, and see if it needs to be go to another step.
Right, and I agree, and I think Andy communicates with Chris quite a bit, that's probably something that could be scheduled and start the process of elimination. But, of course, right now, we all know the hurricane that we went through, and, not only did Panama City and Mexico Beach get devastated, but Thomasville was wiped out, Albany was wiped out, and all these are major, communication areas for Motorola. And, so they're really getting handed to them right now as well.
Right, yeah, like I say, it's one of the biggest concerns, is I know that tower, that equipment up there, the antenna's probably under 20 years. And Lord knows how many lightning strikes have been on that tower.
Right, and I will be honest with you, every time, I just had to have a tower climb because of a lightning strike. And it got into one module. But when they climb the tower, they don't just look for that one, they're checking every cable up there, because I fuss all the time about the cost of climbing that tower, which you couldn't pay me enough. Well, not, but either way, but, you know, they're not, you know, I think it starts around $1,000, and that ain't counting for what repairs they have to make when they get up there. But you get talking about replacing antennas and stuff when you get up there, you know, it can get really costly.
But we need to find out what the problem for
Right.
CPS did.
But part of that too, I think, when we schedule these, preventive maintenance things, they need to test their handhelds and their mobiles and all of them. You know, I mean, we used to at the city, they'd schedule 2 or 3 days and you'd bring your equipment in and they'd monitor, they'd test everything, check the signal strength, they had to do a PL tones.
Exactly, we have to do annual radar, so we schedule it. You
I
gotta
can
have
tell
to
you
be
on the
there.
walkie-talkies, if you turn the PL tones off, then that totally wipes out your whole.
Right.
So that may be an issue. As
Well,
well.
it needs to be scheduled with fire departments, Chris, we can handle that. And, in conjunction with getting Motorola involved, checking the repeaters,
Right,
test the whole system.
right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I tell you, we are gonna try to schedule this,
I think we turn over to Brian, let Brian take care of it, and then he can just get back with it.
okay? All right. That's it. Mr. Davis, do you hear anything?
I just gonna mention, Brian, y'all get the information, I got an, email from Small County Coalition, that's been canceled. November the 14th or 15th.
Yeah, also.
Has FAC been canceled?
No, FAC hasn't been canceled yet, but the economic development
That's been
summit
canceled.
has been canceled.
Legislative, conference in November still on.
Well, right now, I know the governor just put out an order yesterday that said no non-essential travel by any state agency going on right now. So that may end up.
I haven't seen it yet.
That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Mr. Martin, do you have anything?
Mr. Chairman, if I might, did Alan Wiggum, did he talk to y'all?
No, I was going.
Okay. Alan, can you come up and give an update on the storm?
Morning, Commissioners.
He's trying to get out of it.
First and foremost, I'd just like to thank our Heavenly Father for sparing us. That was very, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse, y'all been watching the news. Y'all see how drastic that was and everything, but I just wanna bring you up to speed, give you some bullet points on how Madison reacted to that, to Michael. Is, unlike Irma, is a fast-moving storm system. On October the 5th, on a Sunday, we were made aware that the state was monitoring the system and started webinars. So Lee and I started that Sunday, doing the monitoring. The first thing we did that Monday morning was call in our Hurricane Unified Response Team. Those are members, first responder members, such as Sheriff's Office, EMS, Fire, all the ones that are going to be working and making decisions during a hurricane. We brought them in, started our webinars on Monday, getting our game plan, making sure everybody was on the same page, because communication is very important. As you all know, once we lose communication, we're not communicating, that's when we get into a jam. We noticed, I'm happy to report that National Weather Service, along with the state, they were able to start giving us good tracking. The Michael started condensing, coming together, and they were able to pinpoint the actual landfall where it would take place. As a bonus or precaution, with us being in the east side of the storm, we chose to go ahead and open up our risk shelter at the school as a bonus or precaution. That Tuesday afternoon, we opened up our risk shelter and our special needs shelter. Those are for citizens of Madison County that have some sort of medical need, that they need medical attention provided to them by nurses or medical staff. And that is also held at our central school where our risk shelter is. We started that Tuesday. Our emergency operations center went to level 1. That means we were full effect. We had every representative there ready to go. We started that night 24/7 missions, and I would say it was at Wednesday afternoon, about supper time, it seemed that we started getting our effect. The wind picked up and the weather started picking up. I'm happy to report that our system, the way that it's operated, everything from dispatch to the emergency operations center, when we started getting those calls, you know, this road is blocked, tree limbs are down. It was a fine-tuned oiled machine, because the reports would come in between the volunteer fire departments, the sheriff's office, the road department, getting out there, what we call a push, opening that road to get that available. Also, we kept in constant contact with Duke Energy and Tri-County, and as soon as they were able to get out and get going to restore their power, they were pushing their people out. So it was pretty much a fine oiled machine. And Thursday morning, we were able to go ahead and close down our risk shelter. Of course, what I mean by that, we're not kicking people out. We're making sure that where they're going back to in our community, roads are open and they have accessibility to this, and that power will be restored. So we were able to shut that down Thursday morning and kind of work in the community and actually go back to normal operating on that Friday. So, you know, I go back to Hermine. We all remember Hermine and the lessons that we learned and everything. And then Irma, we just keep making this whole, and it's not just emergency management, it's everybody. I mean, it's volunteers, it takes everybody. And I think they're realizing that out west, that it takes the whole community to survive one of these. And I'm just happy to report that we are back to normal. We did not receive any reports of structure damage. As far as our debris was very minimum. Between the sheriff's office, volunteer fire departments, and the road department going out and clearing, we were able to deal with that. I will tell you on this, we always try, it seems like the older I get, I always try to look at a situation and what can we learn from that. And we will be having an after action meeting on this. And just hey, what worked for us, what could we have done different? I always like to offer that opportunity. But I will say this, from watching the storm, or Michael, I would say, as it went through, that I feel very confident in Madison, what we have ready to go with all the first responder departments, as far as what we have set up ready to go, everything from communications to response. We take a proactive approach here in Madison and have ready everything from ham-ready operators to satellite phones and so forth. But I will say this, in the future, if Madison County does look like it's going to be a direct hit from the Gulf, from Taylor County in there, and we are looking at possibly category 3, 4, or 5, I will be respectfully coming to the board to make a decision on a mandatory evacuation. Just from what we've seen over there, I think, I'm not trying to Monday morning quarterback, but we all get into that, hey, the coast can take it and they'll have their surge. Well, we're inland, we'll be all right. But you saw what happened there. That was a category 4. It was minimum miles per hour of becoming a category 5 hit. And you saw how condensed that system was on Michael and how inland it went. And that's something that I have to look at prior to the storm to make a decision, because I can't wait till after the storm and say, wow, I wish I would've. You know, I wish I would've evacuated, I wish I would've done this. That's something prior to a storm that I will respectfully be coming to you all, wishing that you would grant a mandatory evacuation. And what that helps us on is our nursing home facilities. Between our nursing home facilities, our assisted living facilities, we need to get these people evacuated, because we do not wanna run into a jam like what they are now of search and rescue having to come out and rescue these people. So, again, I appreciate your support ever since us coming in. The board has supported us every time I have respectfully approached y'all for a local declaration. You have honored that, and we appreciate that. This, as far as, weather itself here, we talked to National Weather Service, and our gust wind got up to about 50, right in that area. Sustained wind, they don't normally track it and monitor it. We do that locally at the EOC with our weather system, and you were looking about in the high 20s, low 30s of a sustained wind. But that was mainly that Wednesday night. It seemed about supper time on till about midnight that we were dealing with that. But does anybody have any questions for me or Lee?
I just wanna thank y'all.
Yeah.
Outstanding job.
Thank you all, and I thank all the first responders, cause it's a unified command and it takes everybody.
I say EOC, the first responders, the volunteers.
It takes everybody.
Y'all did an admirable job.
Yeah.
I definitely found a new appreciation after having seen what happened in Bristol and Mariana. I totally agree with what you just said, Alan, that, you know, I've been here for years and years and said, oh, we're 80 miles from the coast or 50 miles away, and it's gonna be, you know, it may hit a category 3 or 4, but it's gonna be a 1 or a drop of depression when it gets to Madison. I don't believe that anymore. You know, that's not the case.
You look at a hurricane, when you got an eye that's 40 miles across,
Yeah.
80 miles isn't very far.
No.
Right. And that was a very condensed, strong storm. It wasn't spread out. They were able to narrow it down, and I appreciate National Weather Service being able to pump that information to us here at the Emergency Operations Center that this is where it's gonna make landfall.
And they did a very good job.
And then the way y'all streamline things with the road department, dispatch and everything through the EOC,
Yes, sir.
that has really come together.
Yes, sir. We learned a lot from Hermine, and we just kept improving. And like I said, it's a unified command. It takes everybody around that table to run this, and we all come in as a family, get along, and get the job done.
Alan, to your knowledge, are both the nursing homes and ALS facilities generating equipment?
Yes, sir. That was a blessing. The governor, back after Irma kicked that in, they had a very short window opportunity to get that kicked in, but I can happily say in our county, all the nursing homes and assisted living facilities are on those. And, just kinda give you a heads up on that, our DOH, Department of Health, their planner works right with us. They're assigned to the Emergency Operations Center, and that's part of their job. They're under blue skies, are contacting them, hey, you ready, you're listening what's going on, and we're always keeping contact with them. We might not have a warm body there, but for the Emergency Operations Center, we're keeping direct contact, because if there is a hiccup, we need to know right then, right now, so we, as Unified Command, can make a decision, hey, you can shelter in place, we can bring you this, or we need to vacate, get you all out there. And that's one thing we really push out there at the Emergency Operations Center is communication, because if we don't communicate, or one party's doing this, the other party's not, we're gonna have hiccups. But I thank you all for your support, and I'm not gonna say anything else, cause last time I said something after Hermine, we're on our 3rd one. Yeah, I know.
I can reiterate what Alan said, you know, being in public safety for all the years that I have, when these situations arise, we always have to leave our families. And, so if I get a forecast that there's an eye coming close to Madison, everybody normally just comes to my house because I'm at work. One less thing I'm gonna have to worry about, I done told my wife, my mother, my kids, my grandkids, y'all are leaving. So I don't have to worry about y'all plus everybody else in the county.
Yeah,
Cause I mean, if you look out, that thing was a category 2 all the way up into Thomasville. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it was devastating. But anyways, one last comment too, going back to the tower, something I would recommend too, and I'm not sure, and Chris might could elaborate. We purchased, and Commissioner Davis could probably vouch for this as well, and Commissioner Martin. We purchased public safety radios. We don't purchase off the wall Radio Shack radios and stuff, okay? So, I mean, because we know, I mean, that radio is almost like their pistol, our guns. And it's gonna get dropped, it's gonna get abused and things of that nature. So it might be a good time when you're doing the PM to do an inventory of what you got. And if you've got some of your volunteers that are going out and buying their own radios and
Most of these are Motorola.
right, and most of them may be working good, and it might be those few that aren't, that might not be. I don't know, I mean, without an inventory, yeah. But, that might be one other thing to look at as well.
Yeah, we've got
And y'all go through that
inventory,
process.
who's got what,
Yeah.
and everything, we've already done the inventories.
Yeah,
On radios.
okay.
Appreciate it. Mr. Moore, do you have anything else?
Just one thing, I read in the paper, and I wanna thank Tom in advance for doing that session on the amendments, because a lot of people are unaware of what the amendments about and how they gonna affect Madison County, so I plan on being here.
Kelly, you have anything?
Just to let everybody know, I'll be going to ACC training for 2 days, tomorrow and Friday down at University of Florida.
Mr. Coffin, you got anything else you want to add?
Yes, sir. Just real quick on, and I hope I don't leave anybody out, but, on the storm, I wanted to thank the commissioners. All the commissioners, throughout the storm came by the EOC and checked in with everybody and stayed abreast. Appreciate Billy, being there. He helped man the phones and was active with us. Of course, Lee and Alan, were on for 3 days straight. Appreciate the work that they did. Karen Pickles in school, she did a fantastic job with the shelter. This year we didn't have Red Cross. The schools manned the shelters themselves. Did a fantastic job. Health Department, Kim with the Health Department and, her planner Dave, Pat Day, were out at the EOC. Of course, they help run the special needs shelter and try to make sure that those people with those special needs get into that part of the shelter. Did a great job. Sheriff's Department, both in law enforcement and communications, did a great job and extremely active with us. EMS, bulked up, had more people on duty. They came in to help with, increased ambulance needs. Road Department, we had 3 crews. It was hard to judge when the storm was actually gonna hit us. It slowed up, so we had to make some adjustments, but we had 3 crews, Greenville, Madison, and Lee, to help keep the roads open before the storm. And then after the storm, we, went back to work too that night when we got that last gust. Also within the volunteer fire departments helped clear the roads. Solid waste worked hard in advance right before the storm. We had to get the, sites cleaned out, before the storm, and so any waste that's coming in after that, especially limbs and debris, is considered, FEMA waste, so we have to get everything separated, so they worked late into the afternoon right before the storm. Had a lot of volunteers, Phyllis Williams with the chamber, Jessica, I don't remember Jessica's last name. Higginbotham. She came in again, helped man phones, that's a big help, our administrative staff. Sherilyn, Renee, Gloria, they all come in and work 12-hour shifts, helping man phones all through the night. Rosa Richardson, for letting us use the Senior Citizen Center. That's a big asset to us that we're able to feed the first responders, throughout the event. They're able to bring food in and we contract with a food vendor to do that, but they have to have a place to sit and eat. And it gives us a place to take a nap, 2 or 3 hour nap in between. Tri-County, was excellent to work with again. They put, people with our road department, to make sure the lines are dead. Also Duke Energy, I got, like the next day or so, I think it was Thursday, I got an email from the dialysis people saying that Madison was closed down, no power. I got a hold of Brandon Muggy, and within 5 minutes, he got back with me and said, no, they're up. So I was able to let the Tallahassee people know that the dialysis unit here would be up and running. They had power, but, so there was some miscommunication with the dialysis people, but that, we've learned that that's an important thing, because people have to have that dialysis, but Brandon jumped on that within 5 minutes, to make sure we had power. I hope I didn't leave anybody out, but,
Did I hear Tri-County?
yep, Tri-County, I did, yep, mention Tri-County. The city, oh, yes, thank you, Shirley. The city was very responsive, in particular, Bruce Jordan, helped step in, because Chris had back surgery and was unable to be there to help communicate with the fire departments. Bruce had done it the year before, so he jumped in and helped communicate with the volunteer fire department. So he spent a tremendous amount of time up there helping coordinate, and with their staff as well. So I hope, like I said, I hope I didn't leave anybody out, but, that gives you an idea of what everybody's involved with. It is a huge undertaking. And, some of the things we've learned watching and being on the conference calls with the state as they're going through recovery over there, we would not be able to handle that. You gotta quickly bring in other assets, because we don't have enough people, road department, solid waste, we don't have enough people to do that. And that's one of the things that I watched. They didn't bring in the people fast enough over there. Within 48 hours, they still didn't have people. And those counties can't handle that. So DOT has actually stepped in and started doing debris removal over there for them, getting the roads clear. And they're now bringing in a lot more assets. But one of the things Alan and I discussed is we gotta have those satellite phones, because their communications went down, they had nothing. And then the next thing you gotta get in is if it's something similar to that, you gotta get in a helicopter air support. They gotta come in and get you up in the air, because you can't get a feel. You're sitting there, and that's what they were doing. They were sitting there watching news helicopters, trying to get a feel for what had happened in their county. But they should have been up in the air a lot quicker to get a better feel for what happened. And the only way you can do that is by air. You can't drive around, and see that. You gotta get up in the air and see it. And so then you know where to stage stuff and how to move stuff around. But I appreciate all the work everybody did, especially, like I said, the commissioners and Billy.
I know you reached out to some of the other counties.
I did. I reached out to all our neighboring counties, right after the storm. The next day, as soon as we were clear, reached out to all our neighboring counties. Everybody was okay. Reached out to Wakulla in particular, because they're close enough that we could go over, because we don't really have a place to stay. But at the time, I said I could free up trucks, like on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we could free up trucks. But at that point last week, they couldn't use them. Now they're starting to get an additional resources from all over the state and the nation, so they really don't necessarily need ours. But we did tell them, especially ones that we could drive back and forth, because motel rooms are the hardest thing to come by. But we did reach out to them, and